Welcome to episode 8 of the Collect a Hobby podcast. Today, Rich and I talk about our favorite Christmas video game memories. So stay tuned.
You collect video games, and you collect trading card games. Welcome to your new home, and welcome to one of the most unique podcasts ever. This is the Collect a Hobby podcast. We've been collecting for years, and we're up to date on all the latest trends in the hobby. Our website, collectahobby.com, is a social network for collectors, made by collectors, for collectors. Welcome to your new family. This is the Collect a Hobby podcast. And now, your expert hosts, Hector and Rich.
Let's get this party started.
What?
Sounds fun. Wear your helmets.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the Christmas special of the Collect a Hobby podcast. Hector and I decided it would be a really fun idea to have a quick podcast about our favorite Christmas memory relating to video games and collecting. So that's what this one's going to be about. I'm going to start first. If that's okay with you, Hector?
Sounds good. Let's see what your Christmas memory will be.
All right, so this is a weird one. So when I was a little kid, maybe about 10 years old, and this must have been 98, 99, something like that. I asked my mother for Rival Schools on the PlayStation 1. I remember I'd rented it from the local video game store a couple times, and it was a lot of fun, and I wanted to own it. So I asked for it about like early November. I was like really excited for Christmas that year because, when you're young, you really don't get a lot of video games. You kind of have to pick and choose, and the one you pick, it's got to be good because if it's a bad one, you're stuck with it.
Oh, you're telling me we didn't have YouTube back then? You couldn't watch videos to see what the game was like before you got it? You had to
Yeah,
just
dude.
learn on the fly.
Yeah, the preview was when you put it in your PlayStation and it's booted up for the first time. That was the preview. And the review was when you're playing it live. So I asked my mom for Rival Schools. So fast forward to like 2 weeks before Christmas, for some reason, I wanted Resident Evil instead, Resident Evil 2. So I then told my mother, hey, I want Resident Evil 2 instead of Rival Schools. She's like, yeah, whatever, I'm like, oh, cool, I'm gonna get Resident Evil 2. I'm so excited. Like, can't wait for Christmas. Christmas, I only got one video game. It was clothing, it was boring stuff, but it was one video game. I knew it was one video game. So I go over and I save a couple boxes for last that I think the video game's in because I don't want to spoil it. So I open up one that was like CD shaped, and I thought it was gonna be that she was going to trick me and put it in like a clothing box or something. So I open up a CD looking present, and it's actually a Backstreet Boys CD, the Millennium CD. And I was like, oh my gosh, I am getting a Backstreet Boys CD for Christmas. It was a great CD. I listened to it a lot, but I'm like, man, like I really wanted to get like a video game like Resident Evil 2.
So you want the game and not Backstreet Boys, you're saying?
Oh, yeah,
Just
yeah,
no
I wanted.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
got you.
It was a great CD. It was a great CD, but I was really hoping to get a video game.
Okay.
So I opened the CD looking package and I'm like, oh man, like, so here it is. It's Backstreet Boys. That's Christmas. So I'm like, that's fine. Whatever. I'm sure I'll rent the game soon enough. And then I got to the last present and it was a big clothing box. And I'm like, oh, so I open it up and what do you know? It was Rival Schools. And I was so happy. I was so excited. And as I was playing Rival Schools on Christmas morning on the PlayStation 1, I remember thinking like, man, I'm so glad I got Rival Schools instead of Resident Evil because I could never beat the intro to Resident Evil when I had rented it prior. So I'm really glad it was Rival Schools, and I had a lot of fun with my friends playing it. And it's a series they should bring back. So that is my favorite Christmas memory. Hector, what about you? What's yours?
My story starts out with a PlayStation as well.
Mhm.
So mine goes back when the PlayStation was just released. So this is, I guess, is 1995 when it was released in the US, and it was released in September, I believe. So, Christmas is coming around, and before that time, my parents would go to The Wiz. So I'm not too sure if anyone listening now remembers The Wiz, but The Wiz was before PC Richardson and also Best Buy and everything. It was an electronics store, and the one in New Jersey actually was shaped like a boat. It was literally a giant boat, and it was really weird. But the coolest thing is when you walked in there, it was just a giant electronics store. And at the time, my parents were looking at like a washer and dryer machine. And back then, which they don't have that much anymore, some locations do, most of them don't. Back then, they had sections where you could test out and play video games. So I remember walking to that store and my dad showed me, oh, hey, look, there's this new console that's coming out. And he showed me it was a PlayStation, right? And I thought it was the coolest thing. And we were actually playing Battle Arena Toshinden. That was the first time I ever seen any game on a PlayStation. I didn't really know what it was. And he's like, oh, this is a new game from Japan. And before that, I was so used to Nintendo. I had regular Nintendo when I was really, really young. I played Nintendo when I was 2 years old. So my mom actually gave it to me when I was that young, and everyone told her, hey, like he's way too young to play it. And I was playing it from 2 years old, 3 years old, and was actually playing video games since then. And I moved on to Super Nintendo after that. So Nintendo has always been my experience. And that was my first time actually seeing something else aside from Nintendo. So I was amazed. And I was just there playing. And what they did is they have to go there multiple times to look out for like a different washing machine, drying machine. So every time that they went there, I would just go over to that toy area and just play there, play the demo for PlayStation. And they will leave me there. They'll go do what they have to do, and they come back and they'll pick me up and we'll just leave. So I kept asking them, I really want this PlayStation. I really want it for Christmas. I want it for Christmas. And my dad's like, oh, that sounds good. That sounds good. But he's like, I don't know if we can afford it. And my mom kept saying, no, there's no way we're going to be able to afford that. We just can't afford that right now. I remember at the time when it came out, I think it launched at like 300, but like at that store, it was a bundle. And like, you know how they do for electronic stores, they always add on these extra bundles. So the price is really way more expensive than what the initial price would have been. And I'm a kid, right? I was 10 years old, so I really don't know the value of money at that time, right? So I'm like, come on, it's not that expensive. It's on sale. It says it's on sale. And I was so excited to get the console, and they kept saying no. And I swear to you, every single time before Christmas, I just kept begging for it. I kept saying, oh, I should get this. And like, I remember I tried to make sure I did well in school. I cleaned up my room. I did so many things to try to convince them that I should get this console. So Christmas is coming up. It's already December and everything. And my sister was always the one that was really the troublemaker behind the scene, because she was always known as the smart one, the one that never got in trouble or anything. But in reality, she always schemed. Okay. My sister knew exactly where my parents would hide gifts and everything for Christmas. So she told me, oh, they hid a gift up in their closet. If you go all the way to the back of it, there's like a gift there. There's a bunch of different gifts. That's where gifts are.
Okay.
It was a couple days before Christmas. And I'm like, okay, I was really nervous to go see the gift. Not because I was nervous that they'll find me or they'll spot me. I was more nervous that it wouldn't be there. So I climbed up in the closet and I saw this giant box inside a bag, and it said The Wiz on it. So I was like, okay, this is it. This is awesome. I think I got it. Everything's good. I literally lowered the bag and it was wrapped with wrapping paper. I slowly pulled the tape open to look at it. And I swear to you, I was devastated with what I saw. It was a microwave. My heart was just like broken at that time. And I know looking back at it, it's like, okay, that's not the end of the world to not get the system that you wanted. But back then, that was the only thing I wanted for Christmas.
Yeah.
So I was already disappointed in everything, and I already knew that the next day wasn't going to be fun or anything. So when Christmas morning came in our household, that's when we open gifts. We wake up like really, really early and just open gifts. So early in the morning, everyone's like opening gifts and things like that. And I'm just like really not having fun at all because I already knew that I didn't get what I wanted. What happened was my sister handed me a gift, and it was a small rectangle, and I opened it and it was a game. It's a PlayStation game. And I was just like, why did you get me this? I don't even have PlayStation. And I was upset with her because I'm like, that just shows you don't even pay attention to what I do. I remember saying that, like, it makes no sense back then. I'm like, you don't even pay attention to what I do. And then my mom was like, oh, you should go open that box over there. And I was like, I'm not opening that box. I already know what it is, right? And I was being really, really rude and spoiled at the time. But I said, I'm not opening that box. I already know it's a microwave. She's like, are you sure it's a microwave? I'm positive it's a microwave. She's like, why don't you just go open that box? So I went to go open that box, and as soon as I opened that box, my face was just like I was completely shocked. I couldn't believe that the PlayStation was inside that box. So what my mom did was she used the microwave box, and within that microwave box, she put in the PlayStation. And she knew that some way, somehow, we'll figure out where they hide gifts, and somehow it will spoil Christmas. And that's why she outsmarted us again. And she put down there in a card that said, like, once again, I outsmarted you. She put that inside the box. That was the first time, well, I was 10. That was the first time in my life that I was ever so shocked that I did not expect it. I literally thought that they couldn't afford it, thought that I looked everywhere and there's no signs of it. And I just thought that I was not going to get it. So I was extremely shocked that the gift was there. I was so excited. It was like my favorite Christmas memory. So for the people listening right now, if you're actually listening on YouTube, I'll make sure that I put up the picture of me opening it. You'll actually see the picture of me opening it and my shocked face. I was completely shocked that the PlayStation was there. And till today, I'll never forget that story because I honestly didn't think I was going to get it and I ended up getting it. So I was very grateful, because we didn't have as much money growing up. But looking back at it, I feel extremely fortunate that no matter how much money that we had, my parents always found a way, especially my mom. My mom always found a way to get us things and provide us things that we didn't really need, but she knew that we wanted and she found a way. So I was very, grateful for that. And looking back on it, that's definitely my favorite Christmas memory.
That's a great story. That's awesome. Similar to mine when the parents kind of trick you because,
Oh yeah.
they know you'll be looking or trying to ask your siblings what you got or trying to figure it out. And you don't want to ruin the surprise of Christmas because, that's what opening the presents are all about. Do you remember what the game was that your sister got you? Was it the game you had been playing at the Wiz?
I think it was, what is it called? The wipe, was it Wipeout or?
Yeah, I think that was like the long box, like the big
Yeah, the long box
rectangle.
version of it. I'm pretty sure that was the game. I'm not 100% sure because I know Ridge Racer launched, but I ended up getting Ridge Racer later. Because the one thing I did get was Battle Arena Toshinden, right? That was within the box because that's the one that I was playing and that's the one that my dad and I really enjoyed. So that was like the main game. So he put it inside the microwave box. So it was inside there with the console itself. So that was there. And we also had that demo disc. That demo disc had Wipeout, it had Battle Arena Toshinden, it had this other alien game, and it had what's that jump game? I forgot the name of it, but it's like some robot rabbit that you jump.
Oh, flashing jump or jump flashing or
Jump and
something?
flash, right? Jump and
Yeah.
flash. So it had that game as well inside of it, but those were just the demo versions. So, but it was really cool. It was awesome.
No, that's awesome. I love stories like that. I'm sure there's plenty more for both of us about surprises and holiday, but I think that for me, the Rival Schools Resident Evil Backstreet Boys kind of big mix-up was a lot of fun, and it sounds like for you. It's weird because we actually hid these stories from each other because we wanted like genuine reactions on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I thought yours would have been Nintendo or Sega. PlayStation was probably my last guess.
Well, PlayStation was just the fact that I didn't think I would be able to get it, and I was extremely shocked. And the funny thing is, like, by me getting the PlayStation like that, I think that's why I end up getting a PlayStation on release day. And I stuck with PlayStation as well. I mean, of course, I enjoy all different companies and consoles and everything, but I still pretty loyal to PlayStation as well. Like, meaning that I always try to buy their consoles on launch day. And I think that's why also you're loyal to Backstreet Boys, right? Is that the reason why you purchase all their albums? Is
I
that
don't even know the last
is
time they had an album. Although it's a catchy album. I mean, I was what, fifth grade? So, I mean, that's when they were really big with them and NSYNC and Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. I'm sure you could remember all those times. But yeah, no, it was fun. I really enjoyed playing Rival Schools on Christmas, which they need another one. And one of the things when you were talking about a little off topic on your story was I remember those demo kiosks where like you could play games. I guess that was before YouTube and all that stuff. You could test it out in the store. Like that's long gone. I don't even think can you find PS4 or 5 demo units or do they just play trailers now?
you remember that was their thing, right? That it wasn't just the kiosk that were the demos. It was straight up like they also gave it to you. everything came with demos. And that was the whole thing. These consoles came with demos so you could try out the games. It was the only way they could advertise those games. And I remember specifically that PlayStation came with that game. That's how I was able to play it. And it's funny because I played each and every one of those demos, so I beat every single one. So anytime like a friend will come over, I'll play the demo version of the game and I'll play it till I beat it. And that's my only like memory of those specific games, because I never got like the jump and flash game, right? The full length game. I never got some of these games, and I've only played a demo. So that's my only experience with those games, is the demo version of the game.
That needs to be another podcast. Demo disc. Demos are really kind of not a thing anymore, but I remember the official PlayStation magazine used to come with a demo disc, and I actually got the official PlayStation magazine of #2, the second one. I just remember it had Armored Core on it, and I got that before I even got a PlayStation. And I got the disc. I'm like, does this go in a computer? Does this go in a PlayStation? I was so confused. But back on topic, Christmas is coming up, and I'm very excited for the next year. I think we were talking about doing another podcast for 2022 review and 2023 predictions, right?
Yeah, so we're definitely going to do a New Year special, and we'll talk about what happened 2022 and then talk about what's going to happen, or guess what's going to happen 2023. Make sure, if you guys are listening to this in any of the podcast platforms, that's great. Just remember that we are also posting this on YouTube, so we do that as well now. So if you feel more comfortable looking at it at YouTube, definitely go ahead and give us a like, and also let us know, if you're new to collecting as well, do you have your favorite memory? Let us know in the comment section below. And once again, make sure you sign up to collectahobby.com. The website is live. It is 100% free right now, so go ahead, sign up. It's very basic. Just got to put your name, email, and then you're all signed up. That's all you have to do. Once you're there, you could go ahead and chat the community and let us know your story. We'll love to hear it.
Yeah, I would love to hear your story, because I mean, we can go and show expensive games and expensive cards, and oh, I got this, it's worth this much, and that's all great and dandy. But at the end of the day, we're all here because we love collecting. I love the stories. I love hearing them. Hector, I loved your story. It was great. I always love when like there's a big surprise and you didn't think you were gonna get it, and you got swerved by the microwave. So it's always good, and I'd love to hear everyone listening. I'd love to hear your story as well, and what it meant to you, and maybe how it relates to you collecting. Hector, maybe now you have a crazy PlayStation collection because of that event, of that Christmas. So I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe I would have became a chef or something if I did get the microwave that time
Maybe.
instead of getting the PlayStation. More happy that I got the PlayStation over the microwave. Definitely.
In a different timeline, you'll be right next to Master Chef. Your secret ingredient is the microwave. Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming on here real quick before Christmas, Hector. To everyone listening, have a very Merry Christmas, and look out for the next podcast, like I mentioned. And anything else you want to mention, Hector?
No, that's pretty much it. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, whatever you guys celebrate. And that's it.
Awesome. Well, signing out. This is Rich. We'll catch you later.
See you.
You've been listening to the Collect a Hobby podcast. Hector and Rich have been collecting video games as well as trading card games for years, and they're up to date on everything that has to do with the hobby. For everything you could imagine and need, hit the website at collectahobby.com. You'll find the blog, show and tell, the vault, the forums, and so much more. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review, and we'll see you next time on the Collect a Hobby podcast.